Hi, and welcome to this week's Stalking the Wild Autoharp. And today I have gone handheld, and I'm not quite used to doing this, but I kind of need to do this so that I can show you what I need to show you today. Today we're going to talk about humidity and your Autoharp. Now, I live in Colorado, where the humidity is always really low. Like right now, it's down around 15% in my house. And Autoharps, if they have solid wood components, need to be kept at or around 50%, according to the luthiers. Now, this is for luthier harps, or if you have an Autoharp that's got a solid wood top or back, you need to be concerned that you're keeping your Autoharp in the right climate control conditions. And so I wanted to share with you what I have learned to do to keep the Autoharp in that range, not too high, not too low with the relative humidity. Temperature is also of a concern. You don't want to leave your harp in the trunk of your car, or you don't want it in the rain, obviously. So you need to watch out for extreme changes in temperature and humidity. But humidity is mainly what I'm going to address today, all right? And I have three very nice solid wood Autoharps that I want to protect. And so I have invested in climate control for them. Now, what you do is your prerogative, and it depends on where you live and what the humidity conditions are. So one of the first things you really need is what's called a hygrometer, which is a digital humidistat. All right, and I have one that lives in my Autoharp case. And I'm going to talk about my case in a minute. But this is the hygrometer right over here, all right? And you can get these on Amazon for about 10 bucks. Don't buy a Planet Waves one, which is called the Orbit. It looks exactly like this because it is exactly like this. But a Planet Waves one will cost you $30 compared to the $10 or $11 for this one. This one's called an Eli Tech. There are different brand names, but they're all the exact same hygrometer that have a different logo stamped on them, and they will charge you, I've seen anywhere from $11 to $50 for the exact same item. Now, as you see, this one is reading 33% humidity. That's because I've had my case open a few times in preparing for this video, and so the humidity inside the case has dropped. It's velcroed in, and I am using an Oscar Schmidt hard shell case, okay, because this seals better all the way around. All right, and I have three of them, one for each harp. Now, I don't use these when I go out. I put my harps into a gig bag because these are heavy to carry, but at home they live in their case, and as soon as I'm done teaching a lesson, which is what I do with my harps when I'm at home, they immediately go back into their case. And then this is my humidity system, all right? I have two things here, all right? I'm going to show you these. This one first. This is just a Rubbermaid plastic disposable sandwich container with sponge inside and holes poked in the top, and I wet the sponge, not so that it's dripping, but so that it's completely saturated. All right, and that goes right in there, and it's no higher than the buttons themselves. All right, and then there's these. These are humidity packs. This brand is Boveda. They are made for cigars. Cigars are designed to keep your humidity right at 49%. All right, and they make these in like 30s and 49s and 75s And so you need to get the 49% one. All right? And one won't do it. I found this out by watching my hygrometer. And I found that I had to put about 4 or 5 in, along with one of these, in order to get my humidity to be where it needs to be. And that's why if you buy an in-case humidifier that you soak in water, or you put water in, and then you just put it in your case, it's not going to do the trick. It's not going to bring your harp up to that right humidity. If the humidity in your house is so low. Now, if your humidity is pretty good and you only have to bring it up a little ways, then maybe a little humidifier will do you. And maybe one of these will work. The beauty of this system is that this not only releases moisture into the case, but it also absorbs moisture. When it starts going above 49% humidity in the case, it starts sucking up the extra humidity in the case, and it keeps it steady. That's what's great about them. Now, Planet Waves makes a system for musicians, and they're going to charge you 3 times as much. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. These packs, when they've released all their moisture, they dry out and they become like a little brick. And the company, Planet Waves or Bovita or whoever it is, they want you to come back and buy more overpriced humidity packs. And that's not what you want to do. You want to recharge them. And this is the secret that they don't want you to know. All right? And here's how you do it. I've been using these same humidity packs for over 2 years. And here's how it works. I have another Rubbermaid container. And in that container is another container. And this container is lower than the top. If you look at the angle, you'll see that it sits lower than the top. So when the lid is on, there's space between this lid and the inside of the lid of the other compartment. And there's a hole cut in this lid. All right? And inside is water. All right? So you got water in there like a reservoir. And then you put in your humidity packs that are all dried out around the edges. I can accommodate 8 to 12 in each box. All right? And then you put the lid on. And if you want to kickstart it, you can take this out and put it in the microwave and boil the water. And then take it out, put it in, put the lid on, and you've got a little steam bath. And if you do that once a day, you can get those they soak up the extra humidity. And you can get them recharged in a couple of weeks in time to go back in your case. So you have to have a set that you're charging and a set that you are using. And by the time these are dried out, you'll use these. Now, if your humidity is high, they're not going to dry out. They're going to absorb extra, all right? And so that's what I am doing. And you might not have to do anything quite this extreme in your locality. If you live by the ocean, you might not have to do it at all. And you're lucky. But I have had harps split and crack up the back, and I don't want that to happen to my harps. So I make it a point to keep them humidified and in their case at all times when I am not using them. And I wish I could leave them out, because when they're out, they call to me. I can, I will see it sitting there on its stand, and I'll want to pick it up and I'll want to play it. And I can hear them calling to me going, "Hal, come play me." But when they're in their case, it sounds more like, "Oh, come play me. Oh, play me out, let me out." But I can't, because I don't like what the dry air does to them. And I hate excess humidity, and I hate what it does to my hair. So I have to keep the humidity balanced, and that's what you want to do. You want to avoid the extremes of excess humidity, especially excess humidity, which can warp your top. If you have an Oscar Schmidt harp or a chroma harp, well, first of all, if you have a chroma harp, you have a plywood Autoharp, and it's not going to be as susceptible to humidity as a solid wood instrument. If you have an Oscar Schmidt Autoharp, it depends on the model of the harp that you have as to whether or not you have solid wood somewhere in your instrument, or if you have plywood. Plywood is not immune to humidity changes. It can warp in extreme situations. And so you have to avoid, it's the extremes really, of temperature. When you have a harp that's in its case and it's been in the cold, and you bring it into a warm room and you open up the case and pull the harp out, that's what's dangerous. Or if you have a harp that is sitting in your room where the sunbeam hits it, that's an extreme situation. Or if it's right by the heating duct. So extremes of hot and cold, and the changes, the extreme changes of temperature where it's suddenly taking it from the cold to the hot, suddenly taking it from the hot to the cold, and sudden changes in humidity. You know, if you take it out of its case in the steam room, for example. So there's some food for thought for you to think about. There are other systems marketed. The ones that are marketed especially for musicians, you can usually come up with your own counterfeit version for a lot less money and a lot more effectiveness. And I wouldn't even know that my humidity system wasn't effective if I didn't have the little hygrometer that was telling me so in its case. And that's how I learned that a little in-case humidifier for me wasn't enough to bring the RH up from 15% to 50%. And I needed to go with more. And so that's why I have the big sandwich case and the individual humidity packs. But you might not need that much in your situation. So I've provided you with a lot of information here. Hope it's helpful. My name is Hal Weeks. My website is halweeks.com. I teach online via Skype, give you personal interaction over your playing, and give you lessons online, which can be quite convenient if you are at home. And I will put links in the notes below on where on Amazon you can find the humidity packs and the humidistats and some of the other humidity related items. And I encourage you to look up your Autoharp if you have an Oscar Schmidt. Find out if it's got a solid top or back, and act accordingly, and find out what the humidity is in your home or wherever it is you're keeping your Autoharp, so that you know and that you're informed and you're not sorry later. So I'm Hal Weeks. Thanks for tuning in to Stalking the Wild Autoharp, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.